Hey out there, legal warriors. In this video, I'm going to give you the secret weapons to protect yourself if the police come knocking at your door. If you're interested in that area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryver. I'm a defense attorney in Lynnwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 20 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get the help they need. Now I'm just going to jump right into it. I've been a criminal defense attorney for 23, 24 years, prosecutor for 7 years, and I've been noticing lately in my defense practice, I'm getting a lot of calls from people that are really upset or worried because a police officer just came and knocked on their door. They either weren't home, they saw it on a Ring doorbell, or they didn't answer out of fear, and now they don't know what to do. So in this video, I'm going to cover the secret weapons you need to know to deal with that, which includes why officers might be coming to your house, because there's a different way to deal with each situation. And jumping into the most common situations I see nowadays, number one is they might be coming to talk to you directly about a crime that they think you committed. And that is probably the worst scenario to be in. And sometimes you're in situation one and also in situation two, which I'm going to describe here in a second. But this situation is the officers are coming to do a knock and talk. They're coming to knock on your door and sort of catch you off guard to ask you some questions about whatever it is they're investigating. Maybe it's a hit and run charge. That's a real common one where officers will come to the door. Maybe it's something worse, some type of assault charge, some type of charge that can happen when people don't consent to things. Perhaps they're calling about or coming to your door about some type of drug investigation or some type of investigation involving property damage. And in all these situations, if they come knocking at your door, if you think the police might be investigating something, I do think it's a pretty good idea. A secret weapon in that case is to not answer the door. What most people think they have to do is they think they have to answer the door if police come knocking. You do not have to answer the door in Washington State if they come knocking. We don't have to talk to the police. We don't have to let the police in our house. They might force their way in if they think they have an exigent circumstance like an assault going on. We do have to let them in if there's a search warrant, but what we don't have to do is answer the door. So many people want to be polite. So many people want to think they can handle themselves with police. And as you might guess, talking to the police at all, if you're not prepared, can establish part of their case. Knock, knock, knock. I'm Mr. Smith, and I open the door. Yes, officer, how can I help you? Hey, are you aware of that problem you have with your neighbor down the street? Oh, yeah, I hate that guy. I really don't like him. What is he saying now? Even if you don't say anything else now, you just establish you don't like this person. Maybe they're claiming that you keyed their car or you broke out a window. And just by saying you even know that person and you spewed out you don't like them because maybe you don't like that person, now the officers help build some part of their case. And that's if that's all they get, at least that's not a lot, but the odds are you're going to keep talking because our emotions can take over. So that first secret weapon when they come knocking at the door, when they're looking for a crime, right, would be don't answer the door. And the next step probably is if they leave a card, take that card out at a later time, get a hold of an attorney, and let that attorney potentially check in with the officer about what it is they're looking for, because some attorneys can be pretty skilled at mitigating the situation to begin with. So that's situation number one. They're knocking on the door to investigate for a crime. So I mentioned sometimes one is related to two. What is number two? What's the other reason they might come knocking on your door? And nowadays, it's sort of an epidemic. It's to serve you with a restraining order. So there's a newer law where they broadened how easy it is for people to get restraining orders against other people. And the legal term is a protection order, but I use the term restraining order because that's what the public generally uses. But protection orders are codified in RCW 7.105, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. There's domestic violence, protection orders. There's anti-harassment, that'd be between those neighbors or people that don't have a dating or family relationship. There's assault, sexual assault protection orders. There's vulnerable adult protection orders. There's extreme risk protection orders where they take your guns. And So it's really constantly going on where I'm getting calls from people saying, hey, this officer keeps trying to get a hold of me to serve me with paperwork. How do they know that? Well, they get the knock on the door and they can see papers in their hand, or they leave a card saying I need to serve you something. And so the secret weapon in that situation is to get a hold of an attorney and have them look on the computer to see, is there an order hearing that is happening? Where is it going to be? So we can talk to you about if you should just go ahead and accept that service, because sometimes they'll show up at your work. They'll start to bother your family. They're going to do all sorts of things. And if we can figure out what date a hearing is at and something like that, then we can sort of predict law enforcement behavior. The current system says for someone to be validly served for timing purposes for a protection order hearing, they need to be served 5 court days ahead of time. So unless there's a legal holiday in there, that's 7 days ahead of time. If there's a legal holiday, that might mean 8, right? And so that right around day 7 is when those officers are going to double down and triple down and quadruple down trying to get you served. If there's less than 7 days from the hearing, you might as well go ahead in most cases and just get a hold of the officer and try to accept service, because that's going to guarantee you a continuance of your next date, and it's going to get them off your back. Now, there's some reasons you might not want to do that, but the point is, in this situation, you want to reach out to the attorney to try to decide if it is you want to try to go ahead and accept service to get started on providing a defense to that protection order. Protection order is a civil matter. It's a complaint versus 2 people. It doesn't really involve the government. The police job is just to give you the paperwork. But when I say it's related, 1 is sometimes related to 2, because sometimes there's been some type of alleged assault or something. Someone gets arrested and released. They're not charged just yet. So the alleged victim goes out and gets a protection order with the basis being the same fact pattern of what led to the arrest. And so oftentimes we have people calling us who have been arrested, and now they're terrified that the officers are coming to their door again. They think they're going to get arrested again. And almost always that's not the case. Officers serving a protection/restraining order usually know nothing about the underlying fact pattern, nor do they care. They're just on the duty where they're going to get, some type of, work acknowledgement. Part of their job is to serve these orders in a timely manner. And now there's just huge stacks of them, right? It's totally ridiculous. And the legislature really messed up on this law. I can't wait until legislators start getting served with ridiculous orders, because that's what's going on out there. But just realize that if you're getting a knock on the door, that's probably the second most common reason is to be served with an order. So what's reason number 3? You might get a knock on your door. Well, it might be because you're a witness, right? You're a witness to a major crime, or they think you're a witness to a major crime. Now, this is a lot more unusual for an officer to come to your door if you are a witness. And in that case, if the officer happens to talk to you, the secret weapon in that situation is to be very direct by asking the officer, are you investigating me for something? What type of help do you need if you're not investigating me? And it's really important to realize if an officer thinks you're just a witness, they're going to approach you totally differently. They need you. They're not trying to do bad things to you. They need you. Now, if you are borderline witness suspect, you definitely want to talk to an attorney so he can keep you on the witness side and not on the suspect side, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So situations can be complicated. But if they're coming to knock on your door because you're a witness, it's a totally different way of dealing with it. I think the 4th most common reason I see is when the officer doesn't come alone. The officer might come and knock on your door, and you might have another person who doesn't look like an officer. Sometimes we have a CPS complaint. We have a CPS, Child Protective Services complaint, that someone's called something in, your ex has called something in, someone has called some complaint in, and now you're getting basically a meet and greet. And that officer in that case is not there in an investigatory function. That officer is there sort of as a safety function, bringing the CPS caseworker with them to interview you. So the secret weapon in that situation is if you're choosing to talk to CPS, think of CPS, of that agent, try to sort of, look at them not in a hostile way, which is hard to do, but in a way where you're trying to, hey, what services do you have to offer me? So many people take a too hostile approach with a CPS person to begin with, which creates a real negative incentive for the CPS person to go easy on their findings. Most of the time, in most cases that I see, the situations are like, we have to do our job to check, and we're not expecting to find anything. And if we go at that CPS worker with a 1,000%, anger or defensiveness, it can create a situation where there might not otherwise be one. What we say to CPS people can be used against us. Often it's not. Well, often it's not. I have seen cases that there's major felonies where it has, but it's a different approach. If the government's not there, if the police, I guess, isn't there to interview us about a crime, they're just doing a sort of an escort type function, then it's a different approach altogether. So I hope this is helpful. It's educational. This might be a tough video to find if you're in a specific situation, but you can have some idea ahead of time of some of the main reasons an officer might come to your door to give you a better idea of how it may be wise to behave, although safest bet is usually not say anything to police unless and until we talk to an attorney so we can get our heads together and figure out why are they even there? Because we'd rather not find out by you directly talking to them in most cases if we can avoid it. So I hope you found this video useful. If so, please like and please subscribe. More people get the help they need. More importantly, if you have a legal problem, a criminal matter in Washington State, or we do protection orders too, feel free to give my office a call. If we get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we'll be there for you. Thank you.